Music has been around for a long time. It has seen all sorts of changes. It has been experimented with thoroughly, it has evolved extensively, and it has seen a lot of lows and a lot of highs. Music is part of humanity. A world without music is hard to imagine. Music surrounds us everywhere, almost as if it's a basic need for survival. Yet, without it, we would be just fine. So, why is music so special to us, despite there being no real need for it? Now, answering that question would take years of scientific research, something that I don't particularly care to do on my own. So instead, let's narrow it down to something a little bit more approachable. See, my channel is all about video games, which I love and always will love. I talk about video games a lot, I give my opinion on games, and I try to teach a couple of things from time to time about how they work. Now, I haven't invested a lot of time into music though, but that will change today. Today, I will answer the question as to why video game music sounds so nostalgic. To answer why video games sound so nostalgic for us, we first have to understand why we feel nostalgia in the first place. Google describes nostalgia as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for a period in the past. That definitely isn't a bad start, but it remains a little bit vague. In 2020, an interview was held with Dr. Christine Batcho, a professor of psychology at Le Moyne College and an expert on nostalgia. When asked why we experience this feeling, Dr. Batcho responded with, "Most of the research available today, including my research, argues that nostalgia serves a number of functions. The thing that ties them all together is that nostalgia is an emotional experience that unifies." She later on goes to say, "In itself, it is somewhat of a conflict, because as I define it, as a bittersweet emotion. It's sweet because we're remembering the best times, the good times of our life. The bitterness comes from the sense that we know for sure that we can never really regain them. They are gone forever." I'll post a full interview in the description below if you're interested in learning more about nostalgia. The insight Dr. Batcho gives us shines a bit more light on Google's definition. But these clarifications still don't tell us much over the amount of time that we need to pass for this emotion to develop. I found myself playing the latest Sonic game last week, but if I listen to its music nowadays, I certainly don't feel a bittersweet longing for the past. So, when we say the past, what exactly are we looking at? Two researchers from Australia took to answer this question. They looked into tens of thousands of YouTube comments for keywords such as nostalgia or miss. Now, if you want my 2 cents, I believe researching in YouTube comments comes with a lot of limitations. Therefore, I won't go too deep into their results. But one result that cannot be denied is that there is a lot of people out there who express feelings of nostalgia as early as 5 years ago. To put it in perspective, it is entirely possible to feel nostalgic towards the main theme of, let's say, Breath of the Wild or God of War 2018. Let's talk about music for a moment. Isn't it kind of funny to think about that a sound is so unbelievably uninteresting to us, but when we put multiple sounds in the correct order, it can cause us to feel the rawest, most intense emotions. Music is an incredibly powerful tool. It can brighten your day, it can help you focus, it can motivate you, help you sleep, relax you or excite you. It can even help you manage mental and physical pain. Music is a tool, its value not always noticeable, but ever present. Above all else, however, it can reduce stress and provide comfort. Comfort is the key word here today. See, our body really loves balance. In fact, our mind and body are constantly working to create homeostasis. Think of it as a thermostat. A thermostat is constantly working to make sure your place isn't too cold or too hot, just as homeostasis is making sure you are stable. Because this is when your body will work best and stays healthiest. You might ask what this stability has to do with the effects of music. Well, that's because the body and the mind are constantly affecting one another. Physical problems can create mental ones, just as mental problems can create physical ones. In 2014, 2 researchers conducted a peer-reviewed meta-analysis of over 17 studies regarding music feelings, and the human brain. This analysis was quite lengthy and, to be honest, quite difficult to read. Nevertheless, it is incredibly useful to look into today, as they have said the following. It is noteworthy that the informative studies reviewed here revealed several consistent results and support some general conclusions. First, there is unequivocal evidence that the emotive states induced by music and the feeling states that follow them engage homeostasis-related neutral systems of the human brain and prompt physiological changes in several sectors of the body. The evidence is compatible with the hypothesis that music may have begun its long historical evolution because, by its effect in physiological states, it played a role in homeostasis, positive as well as negative in both personal and social areas. To put this simply, there is evidence to suggest that music can help us reach a state of homeostasis. This is also likely why it has evolved alongside us. My belief is that this strikes the core of why music is so important to us. It can quite literally heal us. Psychology is an incredibly hard concept to grasp. It is why there are still people out there who don't believe in it in the first place. A broken leg is easy to identify, a broken mind not as such. Stuff like depression and anxiety will be seen by some as something you just gotta man up for. I reject those beliefs. My belief is that just as a bandage can stop a wound from bleeding, a song can stop sadness from festering. Now, will music cure every mental problem in the world? No, probably not. But its importance cannot be understated. Whether it helps you through tough times or whether you just enjoy listening to it to enhance your already great mood, sometimes it's great to listen to music, even if it's just to distract you from what's happening in the real world around you. You know what other medium works great as a great distraction? Video games. My bread and butter. I spend most of my life playing these things. I have experienced great stories, learned valuable lessons no school or mentor ever taught me, met a ton of cool people and made even more memories. Games are a passion, one of the biggest ones that I have. All of this should be quite obvious given that it is the content of my YouTube channel. Much of the enhancing attributes of music also apply to games. Actually, I think video games are incredibly valuable to young audiences. They are great tools for cognitive development, memory, empathy, adaptability, and so many other traits. Games very often offer clear and direct rewards for your efforts, which the real world often lacks. This makes it so you're learning so many different skills without you even realizing it. However, all this is probably an interesting topic for another video. For now, I would like to talk about the attributes games share with music. Let's start with the obvious: relieving stress. It's escapism. Focusing on a character in a video game removes the focus of the real world. It's comfort and it's fun. What's interesting about music in video games is that it also helps to guide the player. The music knows what's about to come before the player does. There are lots of directions in which research in music in games could go. Music can, for example, also help you memorize, which is very valuable in games as you often have to memorize maps, quests, characters, objects, or whatever else. To remain focused on this video, however, we will only look at music from the perspective of its ability to comfort the player. Of course, there are other elements too that can help a player feel nostalgic. However, when we think back of the attributes of our favorite games, it is often not the graphics or the gameplay that we feel strongest about. It's the feeling of nostalgia we experience when we hear its music again after such a long time. I remember entering the forest in the first area of the game. Just the music, the way the music enveloped the game. It was the first time I actually felt this connection. How the audio was completing the experience and how immersive it made it. This is a quote from Thierry Boulanger, the director of Sea of Stars, describing his experience with Chrono Trigger. Developers understand the value of music in games. It has always been a key factor in development, which only makes sense. Both achieve the same goal after all. To help someone escape their daily struggles, Boulanger goes on to say, music just grabs you, and sometimes before you realize it, it has a jump on the player. Once you hear everything connecting as you do, the kinetics of the game really come together. It really does ground the experience and makes it complete. Something I wholeheartedly agree with. When an incredible adventure meets an amazing soundtrack, is it really so surprising that we will miss it when it's over? Such a powerful combination can cause us to feel great joy in reminiscing over our adventure. and a little sad that it's in the past. Nostalgia, vroeg en vroeg. So next time some goofy little Mario song causes you to feel a little bit sad, embrace it. Because without it, you'd probably be doing a whole lot worse.
Monster no longer.
Are there any video games that make you feel particularly nostalgic? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe. I've been Yeeves, and I hope to see you all in the next video.